Hello and welcome to Only Mr. God Knows episode 3, I think? My god. I'm joined by Phil and Zsófia of Left Berlin. They're going to take some time later on to talk about Palivision, which I get to go to this year, which I'm actually relatively excited for because we usually host our Eurovision boycotts on the same night, but this time we don't. So it's all coming together for Boycott Eurovision weekend. Phil, Zsófia, thank you for joining me.
Oh, thank you. Hello.
Hi, thanks.
Okay, so I think first question that I have to ask, especially when anyone's new to this show within a show, what is your experience historically with Eurovision? Start with you.
So coming from Hungary, Eurovision has been starting up was at an interesting time, right? So Hungary joined the Eurovision Song Contest 1994, so 4 years after the system change, and it was also around the time, right before the time when Hungary started to have this kind of international television set up. So we didn't have, song contests at home yet and all this stuff. So it was really exciting for us to be in this competition with the whole West together, and so it was a huge thing for us. I really loved it as a kid. I think it was for us it was that, and then the Games Without Borders. I don't know if you have them, people running around in bouncy castles and stuff like that, which was amazing too.
But German TV shows where they're dressed up as Donald Duck, and I'm sure no one got the copyright clearance for that.
Exactly, it was so great, and I'm really sad that is actually cancelled and died. I think it should be the Olympics, really. So the song contest is great. I loved it always as a kid. I loved it since then. It has been a thing where people would watch it together. Of course, we as Hungarians were always everyone hates us, and that's why no one understands Hungary. No one is speaking anywhere similar language. We are hated, and that's why we never win. And then the boycott happened. So after Kocsi the Worst,
yes, a different boycott.
So it's not our type of boycott; it's a different boycott. So Kocsi the Worst won the song contest in 2014, right? And that was a big hit for the psyche of the Orbán government. We didn't boycott right away, so Hungary was still part of the contest for another 5-ish years, I think, till 2019. But then, basically, after that, Hungary never got back to it. It was never explained to anyone why, so it's it was just okay, we don't want to be part of it. It wasn't a reasoning behind it. Also the government or the people who decide this, they said that it's outrageous that anyone would think it's because they find Eurovision too gay. But it happens to be because of this. Yeah.
That's fair. Similar story to your kind of dropout of countries like Turkey as well. We've also gotten depreciated, Slovakia has also kind of not returned in a similar capacity after Conchita Wurst and forgotten her name, performed it, but Finland sending "Marry Me," which also ends with two women kissing on stage. So, yeah, fair enough. Phil?
Well, I think I'm here as the party pooper. From one of the countries which is so entitled that Eurovision ends up as being a bit of an embarrassment. Okay, firstly, I'm not just from Britain, I'm from Northern England where we don't do fun and joy. But secondly, that if you look at the acts which UK has sent to Eurovision, we sent Cliff Richard in the 1960s. In the 70s, we sent Brotherhood of Man, Save Your Kisses for Me, was a horrible song. And even the supposedly fun song, Making Your Mind Up, which won, was fun, but it was so thoroughly manufactured by that it was kind of. It's a kind of song that you enjoy despite yourself, but you see the sort of people who are sort of permatanned and made up to do.
I think the legacy of that song, or like as someone who wasn't alive for it winning, I just remember it from like watching British television and just be like, having difficulty choosing your car insurance, and that will be the song, and then making your mind up.
Yeah, and that was the radical. That was the offbeat British, and so. There is a community in Britain, LGBT community, which has loads of fun of Eurovision. I am nowhere near cool enough to be part of that community, which means that it's. I think it's easier for me than for the two of you to boycott Eurovision because it's something that I kind of watch from afar rather than being really part of.
Yeah. It's the same for me with like I had like really bad acne when I was like a teenager, and I just stopped eating at McDonald's. There's no correlation between those two things, but you're a nervous teenager, you'll try anything kind of stuff. But I haven't eaten McDonald's for like 20 years. I don't necessarily feel like I should claim I'm boycotting it, but I have, I guess. If McDonald's stops giving IDF soldiers burgers, I probably still won't eat there. But like, I get what you're saying. I'm always interested in the British story because I feel like, and this also mirrors kind of something you were saying as well about Hungary, of just like, it's so quick for Eurovision viewers to go to like, as a mass, go towards like conspiratorial thinking of like, there's a narrative of like, in I think it was the 2003 Eurovision, the UK was like 0 points and was punished for going into Iraq.
Yeah.
But it's just like, I'm not sure I believe that because one, the song was very bad, and two,
it was awful.
Yeah.
It was so horrible.
And it's also like a misremembering of how much of Europe was involved in the Iraq War, because like France and Germany said no, but the Netherlands went in, and so did Spain, and like.
Well, yeah. You talk about the government. I mean, I think there are two things happening at the same time. There's the one thing that I think at certain specific times countries are punished by it. The people who are sending troops into war are not necessarily the ones who are sitting down watching and voting Eurovision. So I think there was an anti-war sentiment which did cause people to objectively not vote for Britain. At the same time, I don't think that's anywhere near as influential as the I was going to say expat, it's not as the exile vote. So when Turkey was in, Turkey always voted for Germany because of all the Turks living in Germany and people voting for the country. And I think that has, specific times like 2003, you will get this sort of political voting, but it's mainly people who are from one country and living in another voting for their country.
Yeah,
and occasionally it's about the quality of the songs.
Occasionally, because we have that now where, like, my kind of pet theory at the moment is that it's going to be another jury winner this year, or like jury favorite, because since 2022. The televote has now got two problems with it, which is now all of a sudden you have a large Ukrainian diaspora that is basically in every country in Europe. Like, it's in Ireland, it's in Poland, and combine that with Ukraine as a heavy hitter in this contest, they'll always send something very good. Then you also have the outright stated in Israeli press, we paid for a bunch of people to televote for our song, even though they didn't watch the contest, kind of thing, and like we bought a bunch of eSIMs to kind of like cook the televote, which I think results in the kind of like jury vote winning out, because we've got like Nemo last year was more of a jury favorite than televote favorite, so I think that's probably going to happen again.
I think with Ukraine there's a third thing as well as the exile vote. There's the concerned liberal vote who say we have got to vote for Ukraine because they've suffered, and this does not involve much deep analysis of what's happening in NATO manoeuvres and things like that, but a recognition, hey, Ukrainians are having it bad. At the very least, let's give them this song contest.
Yeah, I wonder if that's still having the same kind of returns this many years out. But that's definitely a thing. It's been one of the political things Eurovision has been allowed to talk about is like sympathy for Ukraine. But anyway, next I have to talk about who are your favorites this year, or who are we liking. Do you have any selections?
So my favorite is Estonia.
Oh yeah.
Like espresso macchiato, total hit.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yes.
I'm really liking the Serbian vibes this year as well, because they did change it a bit, right? Like normally Serbia sends like 3 gorgeous women.
Yes.
And I love that this year they have the same song but with a man. So I love Serbia. I think Finland is good, but they can never get back to cha-cha-cha. Unfortunately, I don't think that's gonna happen.
They'll never recreate that success.
No, it's just like that's the pinnacle of that kind of music. And I love, of course, Australia.
Yes.
It's amazing.
With Finland and Australia, it's a good year for the horny entry.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
We had some kind of weird horny backlashes in, I think, 2022, and then I was very surprised Albania didn't make it that year. That was just an aggressively horny song. But yeah, that's always fun to see. I'm also a huge fan of Estonia, mainly because the whole song just seems like a kind of insensitive joke towards Italians that
absolutely
I would have done
love it.
Of just I work around the clocko, and I'm just like, clocko's not anything. I also have been appreciating how he's been promoting the song in Italy, because he's just been going around as if like the exact same aesthetic as a politician from Forza Italia running for European Parliament. Like he's made posters that look exactly like that, and like he's going around with his own espresso stand, serving people like vote for me. And I also I just have infinite love in my heart for what I think is actually a relatively decently clever line of life is like spaghetti, it's hard until you make it. Which is just delightful.
Yeah, and I also like this whole, work hard, party hard feeling of it is like really, like, for me it's really giving 2015, and it's just like so lovely, like going back to my youth kind of stuff. So I really love it.
Cool.
Well, I can't give as informed an opinion as this, but I have separated the songs into different categories, and it's interesting that the songs that both of you mentioned almost all come into the category which is, quote, metaphoric. That they are songs about something other than they say they are.
Ooh, that's interesting, because you did put I think I've seen that. Spoilers, I have seen Phil's notes. You put Croatia's Poison Cake in there?
Well, yeah, okay. There's. I also put Sweden's Sauna, which is actually not metaphor. Sweden's Sauna is about a sauna, but it's but it's another sort of. I suppose it was sort of metaphoric / horny. But yeah, no.
No.
Yeah, I know. I kept changing the title, but yeah. So okay, let's do the non-controversials. Australia's milkshake is most definitely not about a milkshake.
Yes.
And Estonia's espresso macchiato is not really about an espresso macchiato. And the one that you haven't mentioned yet, you mentioned the previous things. Finland's ikkomma is not about somebody who's arriving. There may be a subtext in there somewhere.
Yeah, my understanding is if you understand Finnish, there is no subtext.
Okay.
It's very direct.
Yeah, and the Croatian one was one I really wasn't sure where to put it, because maybe it is about a poison, but it was kind of, or maybe I need a better category, it's about things that songs shouldn't be about.
That's a fair criticism. So, from what we understand so far, the song is about a poison cake, which is a very relatable scenario, I'm sure, for everyone. I think the first joke I saw online when that song dropped is someone just posted a picture of like a urinal cake. It's like, is this what it's about? It is interesting. It didn't qualify. It was in the semi-final last night. It didn't qualify. not a huge surprise. Yeah. What are in the kind of framing of, we fully recognize this is not music you would listen to in your spare time, but gun to your head, you have to pick one you like. Is there any ones that particularly vibing with you?
Well, I think everyone's behind the Australia one. There's one, I'm not going to say I particularly like it, but okay, I was watching these alphabet, so I was watching 20-second extracts of them. Kieran said, hey, you can find the full versions of all of these, which seriously underestimate my commitment to the
Yes, yeah.
But, so I was watching them alphabetically, and the first one was by Albania.
Yeah.
And immediately got to, okay, this is the sort of thing you expect from Eurovision. It's vaguely ethnic. It's someone singing in a strong accent. There's lots of local dress and things like that. Yeah. We're going to get lots more of that. I didn't see a single other song which is what I think Eurovision. And so, although I don't particularly like the Albanian song, I think it's doing what it should be, and the others are much more than the others. So I wish it well.
Ciarán. Ciarán's good. I'm trying to think though. You made a good point. Is anyone really leaning into ethnic?
Well, apart from the sort of French language ones, which is a different sort of ethnic.
Yeah, hitting the like French button, being more French, which is like, I talk to French people and they roll their eyes and they're like, oh, it's terrible. You talk to any not French person, it's like, it's beautiful, I love it. I just feel so sophisticated. I'm at a cafe in Paris. That song does make me cry, unfortunately. So it's a very, like, dad cry moment. Like the Albanian song singing in, like, non-standard Albanian as well. So, like, it's also the only song this year with a full-on string orchestra, right? Yeah, that's true.
Which
is like, it's a bit sad because we used to have those more.
Even Waterloo had a full-on string orchestra.
Yeah, it used to be the thing. You had like, there wasn't a backing track, there was a live band, but everyone had the same live band, which did then, like, the downside of it limited the musical variety that you could have. Like, that was the kind of thing that kept kind of things like metal out of Eurovision.
Right.
Things like that. That would be your supposed downside. San Remo still does it, and they're sending the Italian national selection, because that's what we copied to make Eurovision. So, I think, is there really nothing that's going, like, ethnic traditional route?
If there is, not in the 20-second videos that I saw.
You used to be able to count Azerbaijan for that. They used to do, like, Orientalism to themselves, and they would just say, like, something very, what an 1800s British person imagines everything east of Bulgaria is like. Yeah.
And I feel like Moldova is also like one of those like eclectic. Like,
there's some traditional elements in the Moldovan songs usually, but they dropped out, unfortunately.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
It's something that I was expecting of the Slavic countries, so but I'm not sure if that's just my prejudices of what should happen at Eurovision.
I'm actually trying to think, just like, so the thing you had with people over exaggerate this, that thing, like, this is also one of the things the British complains why Terry Wogan stopped being the commentator for the British feed, was because he believed that Eastern Europe voted as a bloc and were like pushing everyone out. The reality of that was after like the collapse and the changes in the system, you had a lot of like actual professional touring musicians who were like, oh, the economy has been pulled out from under us. We have to make it in the West as quick as we possibly can. And it was like, Ireland still hasn't really recovered from that change, the competition, because we still send kind of like, recent years we've changed, but we used to send just like sweet young boys who would sing.
Daniel O'Donnell types.
Yes, exactly. Like Louis Walsh had his grubby little mitts all over that process. And we used to send just like sweet boys, and then like, Ukraine or Russia would send like, oh, we've got like an actual professional touring musician who's in giant stadiums. Like, oh no, the competition has changed. I think it's just with like Ukraine and Russia, if you're counting like them as well, they've always been like ones for sending pop, though, rather than like ethnic stuff. A little bit of ethnic stuff in Ukraine. So I think this is a good time to talk about what it is being done at Palivision.
Okay, maybe you said we always call it. This is only the second Palivision, so we clashed. We clashed last year. We didn't clash this year.
Yeah.
What happened last year is we were live streamed the Palestine conference, which was broken up by police.
Yes.
Which ended up that you got to see more of the Palestine conference in the in the cell where we were live streaming it than actually at the place itself. And it was well attended. And afterwards said, "Oh, right, that was good. What are we going to do next?" And someone said, "Hey, well, Eurovision's coming up. Let's boycott Eurovision." Said, "Oh, yeah, boycott something where you stay at home. Let's organise something where people can come together. They can listen to music and they can boycott Eurovision together."
Yeah.
We're in a Palestinian restaurant. We just popped in inside. Say, hey, are you free on Eurovision Day? They said yes. We put something out on social media. Are you a musician? Do you want to boycott? Did you want to join this concert? That was 4 weeks before Eurovision. And within 4 weeks, we went from having the idea to having a concert with 12 bands, 6 speakers. We raised a couple of €1,000 for Gaza. Great success. Not without mistakes. 12 bands means you have a band on, then you rush them off. Then you have a band on, then you rush them off. It is a bit. It was also basically we took whoever said yes, which meant we had no vetting process. I don't think it was too terrible, but and also there was. People were saying too many speeches. We want to listen to the music, which just like Eurovision. And we had some rounds amongst ourselves: is should we cater to public opinion or should we just have an evening full of speeches and a bit of music at the end? Well, okay, so we did. So we've got more time to prepare this year. We have a lot more. We have a lot fewer bands, but they are primarily from Palestine or from the Arab region. A whole set of styles. We've got, I think, 4 speakers now from ACAB, the Art and Cultural Alliance Berlin, Klima for Palestine, various organisations like that. But But the main thing is the music they're having. Well, no, the main thing is the music and the solidarity. Have fun, but raise a lot of money for this is for Palestinian children's fund. The other thing we had, and then I'll shut up. We had a great venue booked, and then a month beforehand they suddenly unbooked us they were very vague about why they unbooked us, but I think they were deliberately vague. It was an anarchist collective, and the feeling is they were generally supportive of us, but in a collective where one or two people can issue a veto. Anyway. And so we've got Car 19, which is in Friedrichshain, which is a great place, it's meant the capacity is a bit limited. It's sort of, so last year there was 150, this year's 150. This year people are going to have to breathe in a lot more. But we've also got upstairs for information stores and things like that. And so last year everything was downstairs, including the stores. Yeah. This year you can go and watch your music. You go upstairs where the bar, you can have a bar, and then you can look at the stuff, and then you can. I can't remember if we're running video. We've got the opportunity of running videos and things up. So there's a kind of the intense atmosphere downstairs, and the more relaxed upstairs. And it's this Saturday, and we have advanced tickets have sold out. We've got 50 tickets on the door plus whichever tickets people have reserved and not picked up. So. Come early, or then at 8 o'clock we're going to be releasing the tickets which haven't been picked up. So come for doors open at 7, or come at 8, and there may well be some more tickets released then.
Nice. Sold out is a good problem to have.
Yes, and it was a slow process at first, and then the moment it announced on the website, hey, sold out, we got loads and loads of people contacting us and saying, hey, does that mean I can't get in? So I think it's the sort of event where a lot of people say, yeah, I'm going to go, but I can't get round to sort of filling in a form on a website. So I mean, I think it'll be fun. And as I say, if it's full, it will be very full. Which is good.
I get nervous when doing. I've already acclimated back to being in Ireland, where I get nervous event planning in this city where it's like, no one's buying tickets, and then just like 3 days before the event happens, everyone buys tickets. And I'm just like, oh yeah, people are just like very flaky in this city.
Absolutely.
Make decisions about what they're going to do that night, rather than Ireland where like breathing costs a tenner, so you have to like plan everything on in advance.
One thing I forgot, we're also having a raffle because we like raffles. Yeah. And including tickets for Gyrovision. But we just got 2 new raffle prizes. Udi Rads from Jüdische Stimme, she's got a book out, an illustrated book out.
Oh, it looks really good.
Which looks really good. We are getting not just, it's not coming out till November, but if you win the raffle, you win a copy of the book as soon as it's produced. But also, it's an illustrated book. The illustrations look great, and we have a print of one of the illustrations. Both of those are going into the raffle. If you don't get those, then you can go to Gyrovision or something.
Consolation prize.
Consolation prize. And we've also got T-shirts and things like that. So all money is going to Palestinian Children Relief Fund. So it makes sense to spend a lot of money you don't have, because it's going to people who have even less money than you do.
Yes, absolutely. Okay. So do go down to Palivision on the night if you're around in Berlin and chance getting a ticket in. If not, just pay attention to Left Berlin, because they'll probably do it again next year.
Yeah. As long as, maybe Israel will be kicked out and...
It really looks like the country has to collapse first before that happens.
Do you have anything to add, sir?
Not really. Arrive on time. If you reserve tickets, still arrive on time, because unless you did pick up your tickets, or you are planning to pick it up tomorrow on the 16th in Agit after work, up until like 8, I think.
Between 1 o'clock and 9 o'clock tomorrow, which is Friday.
Yeah.
Agate, Nansenstrasse 2. If you reserved the tickets but not picked it up, you can pick it up there, which means you're allowed to arrive late. If you don't pick up your ticket tomorrow, then if you're not there by 8, your ticket's going to someone else.
Yes, so be on time. But also it's also it's worth to be on time because we start at 7 and it's gonna be great from the top, and we will have nice food as well. So
food.
Yeah,
Excellent.
come early, come early, stay late.
Right then. So. Going back to the fun conversation of the Eurovision itself, rather than because like a part of why I do Eurovision for me is also kind of like personal therapy of like I can distract myself a little bit from the horror that I'm doing this in solidarity for. But going back to the competition that should just be mindless fun, but unfortunately due to historical events and reality is not. What is your kind of like overall feeling of the competition this year? The like selection of songs and like the quality. You've mentioned your favorites here, but I'm just kind of curious on like as a real head. How do you feel like the competition has changed over the years and progressed or not progressed?
I mean, I don't know if it's for me or like it's a general feeling, but I do feel it to be really tired.
Tired?
Yeah. Like I don't see much like extra effort put in this year.
Yeah.
Somehow I'm just not convinced. Like it feels like a lot of like most of the countries, they go to like super safe solutions.
Sure.
Especially like Western countries. Like that has always been the case, but this year it's like, my God, like if like I set up an AI to produce something for Germany or France, it's like this would be the outcome.
San Marino was threatening that, like that they were going to use AI to make their song.
I would not be surprised if like some of this was written
will be
by
San Marino
AI.
First.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's like my impression, but again, it might be because,
No, that's
because of the historical events.
No, that is fair. Yeah, it's kind of hard to separate, like, be a sober judge of like this from a musical perspective when it's just like, actually, no, you're kind of like running defense for Israel has really put a bad taste in my mouth the whole thing, and it's kind of hard to be an impartial judge on it. But I do get you. I personally, as someone who's probably this year going to have Ireland's record of most wins unseated by the Swedish Dogs, I do blame Sweden a little bit because they're a juggernaut in this competition. They're a juggernaut in the music industry on this continent, if not the world. Like, if your pop song is written by, like, you will find a Sun or a Sen in the, like, writing credits, usually. And I do think there's that kind of, like, soft corruption, soft influence on a lot of countries of, like, well, if Sweden's doing it, it must be the correct solution because they just make so much money in the music industry. And they've always been a very kind of like music by numbers. Like, this year is strange for them that they're sending something a bit jokey and fun, because usually it's very like top 40 pop hit. Like, again, like AI kind of could have thrown existing top 40 into a machine and will pop out the average. I do think that has kind of colored the whole competition. I still have to root for Finland, even if they'll never, because at least they get weird with it a little bit.
Yes.
That's been their consistent thing over the years, as kind of a balancing force against Sweden's kind of like pop monotony. Yeah, it is. I do wonder, I've only managed to see analysis of this for like Ireland about how lots of artists are just not signing up because of Israel and because of...
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. how Ireland does their like national selection is all very closed doors kind of thing. Like they get 6 musicians on one night and they're like, oh, pick between these 6 songs. But then like how those 6 songs were picked from probably hundreds of submissions or whatever is never very transparent. But from what I've heard, the selection that they have to pick from gets worse and worse as the years go on because of Israel. So that's having a negative effect.
But in slight defence of Sweden this year.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, defence Sweden in '73 when they had ABBA, and this year we'll forget what came between.
Yeah.
I've been looking through our categories and the category of things which firstly, taken out anything which has got a distracting video or stage act because I didn't really notice what was being sung, but think that could be one that could pick up votes if they reproduce it in the competition, and good so. That's also what the good part of Eurovision.
Yeah.
But among that, I've got power ballad. I am not a fan of power ballads, and particularly in a context where Celine Dion is one of them.
The historical entry.
I did notice the Serbian Zsófia noted that there is a difference between the Serbian power ballad and all the others, that they've got a power ballad by a man, which I think is at least something different. But but it's all a bit generic. There's quite a lot of Euro disco, quite a lot of Euro pop, and there are several songs which look like they've been written by a committee. I think the first one I noticed, that one's the Lithuanian, where you've got a fairly young singer singing something which has been obviously written by a Louis Walsh type of, and Netherlands, Portugal, Slovenia, Ukraine, all look like they effectively an AI generated Eurovision song, and that's over half the contestants. And listening to what Sophie said, almost all of them are from Western Europe as well. So I would subscribe to this idea that there's a laziness in Western Europe. I have another category as well, genocide supporting, which is which includes Israel and possibly Azerbaijan. And maybe Britain, but
that category gets very big.
We did an interview which got published yesterday, and I'm not sure picking on Azerbaijan and not picking on Britain
or Germany.
Or Germany. Yes.
We get it's kind of like the people who committed it and the people who supported the people who committed it. It grows arms and legs. Like, it's Europe. It's all just don't dig too deep down into the soil. So it's interesting you put Slovenia into written by committee, because Clayman's How Much Time Do We Have Left is very much like, I love my wife. Like, I wrote this specifically for my wife. No one else is allowed. I love the music video for that because it's just him explaining what the song is in the very beginning. It's just like, don't worry, guy, I think I can get it. It is interesting that it is from Western Europe. I think Eastern Europe picked up on something. I say Eastern very kind of like neutrally, because I'm also including things like probably like historically Greece and Cyprus into this as well, and Finland. I think they realized the trick of it's better to be distinct than to be good. Like, you can you can try, like, if you go in with a power ballad, you have to have the best power ballad because there's going to be others.
Yes.
Rather than, like, I used to call this the metal strategy, which only works if you're the only metal musician.
The Måneskin.
Måneskin, yeah. Or, like, I think first it was like Lordi for Finland. But that only works if you're the only metal act that year, because you just stand out, basically. Whereas, like, the year of Karja Cha 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 for Finland, Germany came last, even though I thought they had a pretty decent song, but it was just, you were too much in the same lane, and all those votes went to Finland. Because in the sense of, like, France pressing the France button, I do think Germany needs to do the same, of just send more Rammstein-like.
Was it the year of Glitter and Blood?
Blood and Glitter,
Blood and Glitter,
Which also just had very, like, weird blood and soil kind of connotations.
Yes. It's like, it was, like, honestly, that was a little bit frightening, that song. It's like, maybe not a German person should sing it, but otherwise good.
Yeah, I think it's very hard to. It's always interesting because it's the Rammstein effect of like. There's Rammstein and they're like from East Germany and they kind of like do this thing where like we go out in a West German stage dressed like SS soldiers because they're just like, this is what you guys are like, right? They're very critical of West Germany and they're like very like anti-fascist and stuff. But then at the same time, every Rammstein-like band is probably a fascist.
I wonder how well Tomorrow will do. Tomorrow Belongs to Me would do at Eurovision.
Yeah.
It's got all the beer swinging
Great
sort of,
staging where they zoom out and Hitler Young. Good reveal at the end. I do agree with the kind of like tired sentiment because I think there's other things going into that because last year, in the kind of like Schadenfreude kind of aspect of it, it was a disaster last year because of like the context, although they're not really admitting it, which is really fun this year because like we've made all these new rules to make it safer for people backstage and stuff. They have this huge list of new bylaws for Eurovision, and it's just like at no point in that do they say why. And it's like at no point do they mention like the Israeli team was basically harassing everyone backstage. It caused various countries to complain. You kick out the Netherlands for violating the rules once, and then not kick out Israeli delegation for violating the rules a lot of times. So like it was a huge disaster. Like one of the reasons they are so tired is because I think they're like the whole situation is kind of like on tenterhooks or whatever. Like it's not good. There's already huge protests in because I was afraid that like a year after the momentum would have died, and that doesn't seem to be the case. Or I was going to say maybe Switzerland is just too expensive for people to travel to go protest. But then the last time I was in Sweden, so I'm like,
So they do say they're expecting booing this time when Israel comes home, which will be,
It happened last year as well.
It happened, but it was filtered, right?
It was, that's the
anti-boo technique.
Anti-booing technology, which is just microphone for stage goes down, cheering.wav goes on. That was the thing that kind of, that was my analysis at the end of last year of that really kind of changed for me. Because the criticism from EDS has always been like, Eurovision depicts Israel as just another country. It puts them on an equal playing field rather than like that's an apartheid state. Whereas, and that was like, that's fine, that's well and good, and I agree with that, and that's like why we should definitely boycott every time they host, why 2024 was a particularly special year, etc. But then after what Eurovision, the European broadcasting did in defense of Israel, it wasn't just like, oh, we'll give it an equal playing field, and if people boo, that's, we can't control the people, blah, blah, blah. That's an equal playing field, rather than like, actually, no, we're going to intervene on your behalf, that changes a lot of people's opinions on it, and that, for me, makes it like very easy. Like, there's not an official boycott this year, but I'm not watching until they're gone and the country changes.
And there's the specifics of the Israeli entry, which is very,
of like, I mean, I wanted to, we had a friend of the show, Chris, on for the first episode of this, and he's kind of like he's a producer, he's run like gigs and events in the US, and he's just like very American kind of looking in. I've introduced him to Eurovision, but I kind of agree with his assessment of like, Israel would probably just do a lot better if they just sent generic pop. If they didn't try to drive the conversation. It's the very typical right-wing thing of like, we've won, but we want everyone to love us for it. Is very... which just I think makes things worse because they've done it again of like, we want to recenter it on
and also like last year it was already like self-victimizing, and then like having the same topic this year. It's like, why?
It hasn't changed.
Like, I don't know, but whatever. I'm not.
Like they like I always see defenders of Israel online, like really usually Israeli people, I should say, like saying like, oh, Ukraine got to do this, and it's like, Ukraine did this once, and they did it like, I I think, 2 years after Crimea was annexed. They didn't go in straight away being like, woe is us. They actually like recentered and sent something quite classy. And again, did it once. And then everything else they've sent is just more like, in the spirit of the competition, we selected a song that we liked, regardless of what it was about. So it's like, rather than like every time coming back and like pleading and please love us, it's just...
There was one exception, that was Downer International, which on the one hand was very much in the spirit of Eurovision, and the other hand was blatant pinkwashing. Blatant, hey, we'll send it. Was Downer International the year before Conchita Wurst? It was about the same.
Oh no, Downer International was
it
pretty much before. It was 80s, 90s.
Oh, it's all merged. I'm getting old. It all merged in my head. But it was the same sort of offer as Conchita Wurst, which is...
people in Austria complain that like, Conchita Wurst is still very nice, but we still don't have like same-sex marriage and stuff like that.
Yeah, and there's a similar thing going on in Israel where we will put forward this gay-friendly act as a way of pinkwashing Israel and saying nothing to say here.
I think at one point, just to like put that into context a bit more, I think at one point the people in charge of Eurovision in Israel at least represented the segment of society that wanted Israel to be more like LGBT friendly. Like that was also like an internal cry for help as much as anything. But now like Cannes is just completely like government mouthpiece. And,
I mean they are like calling for genocide like, effectively. So
and people have already said like they've broken like the European Broadcasting Union's rules by having like pro-military stuff on the national broadcaster. Like there's like I know in Ireland RTE was very like Weasley about like, I mentioned in the interview, Slovenia pushed for an investigation of like, hey, should Israel be in this competition? Spain and Norway have jumped onto that as well. I suspect Belgium might do as well, because the hilarious thing about Belgium is that the federal government is very like anti-Israel, but it's the federal government who gives a shit. Like, that doesn't do anything in Belgium. It's like, it's what the Flemish and the Walloons want. But then like Ireland's national broadcaster was very Weasley of like, oh, we don't think we should. It's a competition between broadcasters, blah, blah, blah. That old chestnut defense. And then it's like, and now it's kind of looking like the staff at RT might just do something from underneath of like, fuck our spokesperson, we don't think... Because like all of these like broadcasters are like, not all of them are aware of just like, oh, the journalism killing machine is like, we're journalists. Even if it's even that kind of narrow a viewpoint, it's still just like, that's not good. We shouldn't have them here. I can't get into that too much. It gets depressing because... Yeah, and then there was last year where they tried to send this song that was egregiously political. They eventually changed it to make it kind of more metaphorical, but like they were given way more opportunities to do that back. Like Belarus basically sent the "Fuck the Protesters" song once, and the EBU originally let it through until someone basically translated Belarusian for them and told them what the song was about, and they're like, oh yeah, that's not great. It was also Lukashenko's favorite band. So anyway,
it was was it 2021 or 2022 when the like Israeli contestant they had on stage a T-shirt on and it said "free," and I was like, oh, she's gonna say "Free Palestine," but then of course it was just free.
Yeah.
For like whatever.
No, they what is it? They've been. It's interesting, you can kind of go through historically Eurovision and kind of track how, I want to say unhinged, but I don't really know the word is for, of just like how aggressively defensive of like their own position Israel has become over the years, because didn't watch in 2019 when they last hosted it, but I did hear about like Madonna before, like the halftime show. This was this big thing of when like America was trying to worm its way into Eurovision of like, oh, it's more watched than the Super Bowl. Let's have like our musicians kind of like do songs in it. Justin Timberlake performed once and things like that. That period is dead, thankfully. But Madonna performed, she had a featuring from an American rapper. I've forgotten his name. I apologize. But the whole thing they revealed at the end of the stage is that Madonna had an Israeli flag on the back of her leather jacket, and he had a Palestinian flag on the back, and they hug. And it was like, wow, that's incredibly tepid, and like that's kind of like a nothing burger statement. We all want peace, blah blah blah. But then it was just like, oh, they got so angry at that. Like, why did you get angry at that? That's nothing. It's grim. I think the other thing that makes it tired as well is all the weird budget shenanigans that they've gone into. Like, I think last time Copenhagen hosted it, which was like, I want to say 2014, 2013, something like that. They just now paid off the debt of like hosting it because they went a little too big. Yeah, so there's this kind of like very budget conscious thing they're going now. There's also the like country slowly pulling out for kind of like same reason as Hungary, or more shallow reasons of we're not doing well. It's an embarrassment. Like Romania pulled out last year because Romania is not very good at Eurovision. So yeah, there's tired. I think is a very good word for it. Yeah, for sure, for multiple reasons instead of just the element in the room. But that's a big part of it. Right. Do we have anything else we want to state about this year? Feel you excited to fully engage with our?
I think you should learn Phil's notes. Phil's
my extensive notes.
Phil's little Excel sheet categorization, because
I like it.
It might be helpful. Yeah.
I intensively watched the 20-second videos twice. So I am very proud of the amount of research that I put in for this.
I listened to it while driving, and I just realized like it's really not a good idea to listen to Eurovision songs while you're driving, because it's like the main element is the visuals. It's like it's kind of awful. If you just
audio.
Just audio.
It's not great.
Yeah, the two categories I've got, which we haven't really talked about, are distracting stage set and distracting video. Mm-hmm. I think the distracting stage set means this is going to be fun.
Yeah.
If you do watch it, which you shouldn't watch it. But the distracting video is, this might be, if they can reproduce the video on stage.
What do you have for distracting video?
I've got loads of them.
Oh.
It's the biggest category. Azerbaijan, Czechia, Greece, Iceland, Italy, Latvia, Malta, and UK. The UK one I must have. I didn't want to do an extra category of land. But there is the UK video is a bit weird with these women sitting on sofas and kicking the.
Yeah, because they're talking about being hungover, which is fine. I should state, because for the sake of the record, the local government of Majorca has already complained about the British entry.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not surprised.
Do you know why?
I don't know, but like I assume drunk girls related.
Vaguely, yes, because they have the line of climb up to the roof, jump into the pool, you should do a 2-2-2. And they're like, the government of Majorca is actually like, the term balconing is apparently a real problem there, and you need to stop doing it.
Probably amongst British tourists.
Probably amongst British people, in Shagaloof or whatever. I love the little weird acidine beefs that start because of this competition. That is, I think they're probably going to do quite, because you didn't see the full song, but
I saw 20 seconds.
Saw 20 seconds of it. They are like musical theatre kind of trained. And if you listen to the full song, it is very like, oh, this belongs in a musical. There should be like a story around this. The characters are hungover, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, I hate that. I hate that as a genre, but I will recognize no one else is doing that.
Yes.
So at least it might stand out. Distracting video. Iceland did make it through, so I didn't think they'd do it.
Did Albania? But Albania is my dark horse.
Yeah.
on exactly this thing on the they're the only one doing ethnics this year.
Yeah, just getting incredibly impassioned over a song you don't care about. But yes, they made it through. Don't worry. That was. I do like Ciarán. I like the whole vibe of Ciarán. I like. You probably didn't see in the clip of like during the choruses you get the male vocalist, and he's got an incredibly deep register.
No, I just saw a scary woman.
Which one was this year? This super high voice.
That's JJ's Austria.
Yeah, that's quite amazing. I think we didn't give them credit. We should. They are really good.
They are very, very good.
Yeah.
They're one of the top contenders to possibly win.
I wouldn't. Yeah.
Because they it is interesting because it was last year. Nemo Switzerland sends this person who's like, they're classically trained, they can do operatic vocals, and then Austria just goes, oh fuck, that's our thing. Why didn't we do that? We're the opera people. Send someone from the Vienna Opera. Come on.
That is so true.
It is. And people were very excited because he's Filipino Austrian, and everyone was like, he could win at the same time that a Filipino Pope gets announced. Back when people thought it was going to be Tego, it was like, big year for Filipino people. Unfortunately not. I think the other one that I do want to mention before we close out, because I do kind of think it's in the sense of like, I love this competition because it does everything to try and not be political, but everyone's just like, it's gotta be political. It's like, come on. Is I do quite like the Netherlands because he is a Congolese refugee. His first experience at Eurovision, he was watching it in like temporary accommodation and things like that. And the song, while trying not to be aggressively political, called C'est la vie, is about the like platitude his mom would say to him about like, oh, why do we have to leave home? Why do we have to move to here, move to there? Jumping around. It was like the excuse kind of thing she said to him when he was a kid about why things were happening. And it's like, I'd rather that be shoved in front of like 500 million people's faces than not, kind of thing. Like it's a very real voice in Europe that is not heard. And that's the kind of little silver lining of like, that's kind of what this competition can and should be at times, is giving like voice to someone that, I don't know, probably like 2/3 of the Dutch Parliament fucking hates.
There was a silly thing that there was the World Cup that when I think it was still Jean-Marie Le Pen was leading that, where the French team was almost exclusively black or Arab.
Yeah.
And I found myself, despite myself, willing them on to win because it would have just pissed off Le Pen so much. I think they won that year. It pissed the Front National. It was then. It pissed them off so much. Because they were saying this is not a proper French team. That
has happened to me as well, where despite my best self, I am endeared a little bit to the German entry this year because they are either Hungarian or Hungarian extract, and that pissed off the AfD. And I was like, yeah, why not? They have actually an acoustic version of the song in Hungarian.
Really?
It's really nice, yeah.
Oh.
I don't understand anything, but you know.
How did I not know that?
Yeah. And it's just very kind of like, oh, you think about like, modern Europe, EU, we've kind of like, Europe has kind of adopted the American view of race of like, everyone's white, we all get each other. It's like, no. AFD still got that old school European racism where like, the country next door is still too ethnically different for me.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anyway, right. So at the end, I do have to, Only Mr. God Knows is a content marketing scheme to plug Gyrovision. Sunday, 6 p.m. to 10 p.m, €20 in. All money goes to 2 Palestinian charities in Lark, Berlin, which is technically Mitte, but it's just on the border of Friedrichshain. So do come on down. I think we will still have tickets available at the door, which is the first for us because we are trying to make it bigger than it was last year. The venue has told me that there will be chairs. They're going to be Diabanca, like Späti furniture, which feels very on like brand for our podcast. And yeah, so do come on down. We also have something about from the Left Berlin as well.
There's 3 very quick ones. One, Palivision. We talked about Palivision Saturday in Car 19. The other, you mentioned it in passing, but didn't say where people found it. I did an interview with Ciarán about Gyrovision, which went up on theleftberlin.com yesterday. Mm-hmm. You can find that and all sorts of other journalism and all sorts of other things about events. Mm-hmm. And on the 31st of May, we're organising a Left Journalism Day School, which just sold out, but you can maybe there'll be some more. We're negotiating for more chairs. There are a number of proper journalists, so Haber Jamal and Farah Maraka, both nice. Palestinian journalists, are talking about the way in which the German media represent Palestine. Mm. And there are also, I'm talking about writing book and film reviews, and Nick from Corner Späti is talking about podcasts. So a good mixture of the professional and the making up as they go along.
Yeah.
That's 31st of May in Karl Liebknecht House on Rosa Luxemburg Platz.
Hell yeah. And you can find all the information for basically all that at leftberlin.com, right?
The leftberlin.com and the leftberlin.com/events to find out about specific events.
Oh yeah.
And sign up to the newsletter. We send out a newsletter every Thursday to 3,400 people now, which nice. Is good. Let's try and make it 3,500.
Yeah.
Or 5,000. We'll go for 5,000. So sign up for the newsletter and get you people you know to sign up for the newsletter as well.
Hell yeah. Okay, all that left to be said is Phil, Zsófia, thank you so much for coming on. And we'll catch you next time.
Next time, and on Saturday and on Sunday.
Oh yeah, all the plugs. Do the plugs.